And panic buyers have descended on supermarkets to snap up toilet rolls, hampering the city's fight against the coronavirus outbreak. Long queues of people buying toilet paper and empty shelves. Take a look.
A man was tasered by police in Australia today after a toilet paper dispute broke out.
The Mandalorian is a Disney Plus show and is created by Jon Favreau. So it's set after the fall of the Empire at the end of the original Star Wars trilogy, but before the emergence of the First Order. The series depicts a lone bounty hunter in the outer reaches of the galaxy, far from the authority of the New Republic. And he's got a baby Yoda with him, which the Imperial forces want to obtain. Because surprise, surprise, this baby Yoda has Force powers. This first season is only 8 episodes long, with a runtime of 30 to 40 minutes each. It stars Gina Carano, Carl...
You son of a bitch!
Weathers, Nick Nolte, Taika Waititi, Giancarlo Esposito, and Werner Herzog. Yes, the same actor-director, Werner Herzog, who got shot during an interview, said, "It's not significant," and wanted to continue the interview. And of course, the man behind the mask himself, Pedro Pascal. Even though sometimes it's John Wayne's grandson, Brendan Wayne, behind the mask as Pedro's double. Now, in case you missed it from the title of my video, this is a spoiler review. So if you haven't seen The Mandalorian yet, I suggest that you save this video in your watch later list. But if you have seen it, or generally don't care about spoilers, then let's proceed. Now lately, the Star Wars franchise has been hit or miss with me. Actually, a lot more misses. But with The Mandalorian, I found some solace. It's the space western I didn't think I needed, but as it turns out, this is the way. There's a lot of good things to say about this show. But first, I want to talk about the things I didn't quite like.
I've got a bad feeling about it.
Quiet.
What?
Episode 5, The Gunslinger, directed by Dave Filoni. Now, Dave Filoni is typically known for directing the Star Wars animated series. And in this episode, you can tell that he's lacking the experience directing live action. Just the dialogue alone sounds like something you'd expect to hear from an animated episode. There was nothing new here, and I felt like everything else was just done for fan service. Oh look, there's Mos Eisley. It felt like a filler episode in a season that's only 8 episodes long. I'm sorry, but filler episodes should not exist in something as focused as 8 episodes in one season. Plus, I gotta say, this episode showed the worst acting in this entire season. Nothing against Jake Cannavale, because I'm sure he's a great actor. He's Bobby Cannavale's son after all. I think this falls back on Dave Filoni's directing. What a waste of Ming-Na Wen. By the way, she's looking great for 56 years old. I'm telling you, man, it's those Asian genes. I'm actually 84, and Baby Yoda's supposed to be 50, so you know he's gotta be Asian too. And there's also not enough space battles. Growing up watching Star Wars, it's always been the space battles that I looked forward to. I think I only counted 1 space battle, and it didn't even last very long. At the risk of sounding like my ex, that was disappointing. Now let's talk about IG-11's character arc. We meet him in episode 1, and he's basically sent to seek out and eliminate Baby Yoda, until Mando decides to take him out instead. We don't see him again until episode 7. Nick Nolte's Quill reprogrammed him to be a carer for the child. Suddenly, by episode 8, he's making this sacrifice to help Mando and company escape. His sacrifice would have had a greater impact if we had just spent a little bit more time with him. If he had as much screen time as Gina Carano, then absolutely, I think his sacrifice would have hit me right there, right between the feels. And just one little gripe, Mando tells a story about how he never took off his helmet to expose his face to anyone since he was a kid. Then he proceeds to take off his helmet by the window, exposing his face in front of anyone that would walk past. But now let's talk about what the show did well. The soundtrack gives us that true Western feeling, but set in the sci-fi world. They even have the sci-fi version of the stereotypical Western whistle. The music was composed by Ludwig Göransson, and he's the guy behind the music for Creed and Black Panther. And of course I gotta throw props to our hero, the Mandalorian.
Yeah? Good.
So Pedro Pascal and Brendan Wayne did a stellar job at physical acting, especially the fact that they managed to convey emotions without actually showing any facial expressions. It was great seeing a conflicted bounty hunter torn from his beliefs because he knows protecting this Baby Yoda is the right thing to do. Bryce Dallas Howard directed an entire episode, and she says that she's never worked a single day with Pedro Pascal. So we don't actually know how many times we see Brendan on screen instead of Pedro. But Pedro's always the voice, which they can cover in ADR during post-production. and director Deborah Chow. Deborah proved to have the strongest episodes in the entire season. Episode 3, where all the Mandalorians came to the rescue at the end, reminded me of that scene from Iron Man 3. Deborah Chow is the best storyteller in Season 1. And a couple of cool things that I want to mention. Dallas Bryce Howard's AT-ST chase scene in the woods was very Jurassic World. I love that the show pays homage to Indiana Jones during the tank scene with the Jawas. And I dug how they used the concept art as the images to show during the end credits. It was really good to see one of my favorite comedians, Bill Burr, here, with a pretty big role. And also good to see Clancy Brown as Berg. We know him as that rough prison guard from Shawshank Redemption. Now before I share my final thoughts, just a quick reminder to click like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications to my weekly reviews. And if you like my content and you're feeling generous, become one of my valued subscribers by signing up to my Patreon. Check out the link in the description below. And now for my final thoughts. Starting with the lows, we've got episode 5 and everything about it. Not enough space battles, and IG-11's character arc was lacking. And as for the highs, we've got an awesome soundtrack, a compelling protagonist, and expertly directed by Deborah Chow.
Don't you agree?
So overall, I think this show's great and shows a lot of promise for Season 2. Is it worth getting Disney Plus for? Well, that's really up to you. All I can tell you is I still had a great time with it, aside from a few of my frustrations. Have you seen The Mandalorian yet? If so, tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. And while you're there, let me know what I should review next. And who am I, you ask? I'm Nick Nolte, and I have spoken. Bye for now.
I have spoken.